What does it mean to be an American? Who is an American? What is patriotism? What does it mean to love your country? Are we always supposed to just go along with whatever our government says we should go along with? Or is there something that we have as Americans that allows us to make changes if we're not happy with what's going on in our government? These are fundamental questions that I think a lot of Americans either misunderstand or understand differently. And I think that causes an awful lot of the division that we have and all of the mess, quite frankly, that we're seeing in our country right now. That's what I want you to start thinking about as we go through this class. I'm going to tell you something right here that might be controversial in this school even. I believe that your U.S. history class in 8th grade right now that you're about to embark on is the most important class you have. The state of Indiana won't agree with me. They think math and language arts are the big things because that's what gets tested. But I'm telling you right now, whether you learn to speak proper grammar, read and write, those are all very important things. Whether you learn to do math, some of the higher math, those can be important things too, and really important to getting you a good job sometimes. But even if you didn't learn a lot of higher math, and even if you're not perfect with your language arts skills, if you can learn what it really means to be an American and what patriotism really is and what your rights and responsibilities are as an American citizen, then you can help change your country. If you want to change this country and sort of get rid of some of this mess that we've gotten ourselves into, it's up to you guys. You guys are the future of this country. We've kind of got it messed up for you right now. You have the ability to go out and turn things around. It's your country. It's your future. I've lived the better part of my life. I've got more years behind me than I have in front of me. I'm not real happy with where our country is right now, or our whole world. And I'm kind of sorry that we've left it that way for you to clean up, but that's the facts, Jack. We have left you a mess, and it is left in your lap. In the next few years, you're going to be out there, and you're going to be the generation that's going to be in charge. So you better know your Constitution, you better know your rights, you better know your responsibilities, and you better be ready to take those on. That's why this class is extremely important if you plan to stay in this country and move it forward and make it a better place. I look at it as my job to give you the tools to do that. And if I can do that for some of you, then I feel like I've done a good job. So, I want you to be thinking about that. I'm never going to tell you what to think. I'm going to give you every side that I can think of to an issue. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Give it all to you. I'm never going to sugarcoat American history for you. I'm going to tell you what's always been taught, and I'm going to tell you about some things that aren't traditionally taught. And I'll let you sift through all of that mess, all of that rubble, and pull out what's important to you, and you make your own decisions about where you stand and where you want this country to go. If you don't know your rights and responsibilities, then you don't know when those things are taken away from you. And right now, we're in a country that has a tremendous amount of argument about what rights and responsibilities are. You look at the Black Lives Matter movement. You look at the COVID-19 pandemic, all the people who are arguing about whether or not that it's that serious, whether we should open schools back up, whether we should open businesses back up, restaurants and bars and things like that, whether or not we should have to be forced to wear a mask or a gaiter like I've got here, all of that stuff. Those are rights and responsibilities. Sometimes, as we're going to find out, your rights as an individual stop when they impede the rights of another individual. That's what we're going to talk about when we get to the Bill of Rights. Famous line that was in a Supreme Court ruling is that my right to swing my fist ends at the tip of somebody else's nose. In other words, yeah, I could go out and swing my fists. I can go out and holler in the streets and protest, but my right to do that ends when I do damage to someone else. So where is that line? When do we cross that line, and what happens when we cross that line? The other thing, my responsibility as a citizen is to listen to the other side and to try to understand and to try to find common ground. And we don't have nearly enough of that going around. Yes, I have the right to speak my mind, but I have a responsibility to listen to others when they're speaking their minds. Does that make sense? I think it should. So we don't have nearly enough of that going around. I think the biggest shortage we have in this country right now is empathy. Empathy is being able to feel someone else's pain, to be able to understand, even if you don't agree with someone, you can understand why they feel that way. It's really hard to hate someone if you can empathize with them. Like I said, we're never always going to agree with one another, but if we listen with respect and dignity, then we have an opportunity to empathize, and that brings the fire down. That keeps the emotions and the hatred down. Yeah, I don't really see it the way you do, but I understand why you see it the way you do. We can work with that. We can work around that. We're not doing that right now. Your generation, has an opportunity to start changing that. That's what we want from this class. We want you to get the whole picture, find empathy, and begin working on where do we go from here. It really is that simple. That's why this class is so important. We're going to be trying to tie what you're seeing in the news going on right now, all of this mess, all of this hatred, we're going to bring those in, the current events. We're going to bring them into class, and then we're going to tie them into where they got started. And where they got started is way back in the beginnings of our country. And those problems have never gone away because we've never dealt with them honestly, with empathy. Some have. Many have. But not enough to where we've gotten ourselves above it all. We're still being brought down by the same kinds of hatred, the same kinds of fear, the same kinds of mistrust. And it's got to end somewhere. Maybe you guys can end it. We haven't been able to. Maybe you can. I hope you're ready to deal with these things as we go into U.S. history class. Stay with us, participate, and become a great United States citizen.